Hello everyone and welcome to episode 38 of my Guild Wars 2 series. Really quickly, I just want to say that I bought a brand new microphone and I'm still testing things out, so if audio in this video sounds a little bit weird, I'm trying to improve things and I'm learning along the way. But in this episode, we are going to start the end of our Act 1 journeys here, where we are going to make 3 different characters, one in each episode, so only one this episode, and we're going to explore a little bit of a different profession and a little bit of a different story compared to what we've done over our last 5 characters here, which we can see down here. So let's go ahead and come into our character creation, and the first character that I want to create today is actually another Charr character, because I want to explore a little bit more story and I want to explore another race. And we made a male Charr, so I thought we could go ahead and look at a female Charr so we can kind of see some of those like animations and voice acting and stuff like that. And also, when I created a Charr character, I didn't really have any of this like character customization shown, because I was trying something different compared to the other 4 races where I did show character customization. So we're going to spend a little bit extra time in this episode just looking at creating a Charr character. But the profession that I want to play on this Charr character is a warrior. So we've explored the Guardian, we've explored all 3 of these classes here, and we've explored the Necromancer. So today we're going to take a look at the warrior, which favors melee, has high survivability, and is a weapons master, and is relatively easy to play. So let's go ahead and come into here, and then just looking at a few different body features, we can see that we obviously have fur that we can change up, and then as we come into our heads here, we can have some horn customization here, which is a really big part of like Charr customization. But then beyond that, we can go ahead and just customize this character. And then this is where I ended with this character, so let's go ahead and quickly come through here. Whereas a warrior, we can choose to have no helm, where the enemy will cringe and falter when they see the fearless determination on my face, so then we get shoulder pads instead. Or we can have a Galia, an open-faced helm, so that enemies can see my face and look me in my eyes, they will remember who defeated me. Or a Spangen helm, or how we pronounce that, which intimidates my enemies and inspires respect among my allies. And I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the shoulders here. And then I'm going to go ahead and go with ferocity here, since we are a Charr, and I'm kind of going for like a warrior fighting thing. And then we explored on our Charr character beforehand of being in the Ash Legion. I'm going to go ahead and explore the Blood Legion a little bit, where we charge straight into battle. The Blood Legion pushes to the front line in any combat. We're powerful and bold, and none can match our prowess on the field. So let's go ahead and hit next, and then we can have a sparring partner, which I'm going to go ahead and pick. I think Maverick here kind of fits like the personality I'm going for right here. The single best combat fighter I've ever met. He has a wild streak and an ego the size of the Black Citadel. And then finally, they tell me the soldier that sired me is a loyal soldier, a sorceress shaman, or an honorless gladium. And I believe we explored the sorceress shaman on our old character, so I'm going to go ahead and go with a loyal soldier here. I've heard my sire's name spoken with reverence ever since I was a cub in the Frower. I plan to live up to his reputation or exceed it. So there we have all the stuff here, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick a character name, which I actually didn't think of beforehand, so this might be a little hard. I think I'm going to go with Athos Bloodclaw here, which is kind of similar to our other character. Let's go ahead and create this character and then jump straight into the world. So here we are in the tutorial mission that we can go ahead and just quickly do. We start off with just a basic sword right here, which has an auto attack that basically just kind of swings our sword at the enemy, and it deals a good amount of damage. And it is a chain attack, so we also apply a ton of bleeding and cripple as we attack with our different weapons here. But I'm mostly just going to go ahead and level up really quickly so we can unlock some more stuff to kind of just look at some things, because we've already explored all this and we've explored all these areas, and I kind of just want to unlock some skills to look at, and then also unlock the story so we can kind of take a look at all this stuff available for us. I also forgot to talk to the story person, so I'll go back and do that. So we are now level 8, and we are at the Blood Legion outpost right here, just outside the starting area of the Plains of Ashford, and we are going to go ahead and just fight a few different mobs while we explore kind of what warriors can do. So if you come into our hero panel here, we can look at our available weapons, and there are a lot of different weapons available. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that warriors have the most weapons that they can use in Guild Wars 2. Doesn't necessarily mean the most weapon skills, it just means the most like unique weapons that you can use. So let's go ahead and just kind of kill a bunch of ghosts and we can explore this a little bit. But we have a sword in one hand and a sword in our offhand right now, and we looked at the auto attack, and we can use the sword to leap at enemies, and then we can strike our foe with a powerful thrust. We can also throw our sword to impale them, which is pretty cool. And then we have a block attack here where we can block attack, and then we can go ahead and deal a ton of damage if we are able to successfully block an attack there. And if you see on our bar right here, we have a very special skill here called Flurry, which is our profession mechanic here, where we get adrenaline as we do things, as we get hit, as we attack things. And then when our adrenaline bar is full, we can go ahead and use Flurry. So as we level up, we will get a second bar and a third bar, meaning we'll get up to 30 possible adrenaline that we can use. This is kind of similar to like the rage mechanic for Warriors in World of Warcraft, but it is just for this skill here, Flurry, which is called a burst skill. And basically your primary weapon, or your weapon in your main hand, is going to be the weapon that has a burst skill. So we have a sword in this hand right now, so we are exploring the Flurry skill. But let's go ahead and change our weapons and we can look at some other skills. So I have a ton of weapons in my inventory here. Let's go ahead and go with the classic sword and board right now, where we can basically look at the shield. So if we come over here, we have a shield bash where we can basically just stun our enemy and it kind of charges us towards it a little bit. And then we also have a shield stance where we just block attacks, which is very nice. But we can also swap out our sword for a mace here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, where we have another chain attack here, where we basically just deal some damage with our mace skill. And then we also have a counter blow where we block the next attack and then we can counter the attack. And then we also have a pommel bash here. So we have a ton of stun skills with our mace and our shield right here. And then also with our offhand sword, we'd have even more. So it's very kind of like nice tanky, a little bit more like defensive compared to more damage dealing here with a mace and a shield. I'm gonna equip the shield there, and then I'll go ahead and throw the sword back on here for now, just for simplicity's sake. And then we can crush your opponent's armor, leaving them vulnerable and gaining might. And then we can also smash the ground with our mace, damaging your foes and sending out a shockwave that damages and knocks down foes, which is very fun and very powerful. We can go ahead and look at that again once this recharges. Coming to attack this peasant, we can leap, and then we can use the shockwave attack and then just hit with our other mace skill there. So very fun. But actually, if I equip my mace back in there, let's go ahead and come over to this archer, and then we can use our burst skill here, skull crack. Stun your foe with the skull crack, effects increase with adrenaline level. So let's fight some of these archers here, and then we can go ahead and get our adrenaline up, and now we can use it, and then it just deals a nice amount of damage and also stuns them. Coming back into here, let's go ahead and put our Warhorn here. So we have Mace Warhorn right here, and Warhorn is pretty similar to like the Ranger Warhorn as well. We grant boons and remove movement impairing condition from allies. The boons are swiftness and then a tiny bit of quickness, and then also removes conditions from allies and grants them vigor. Affected targets also gain barrier, which is very unique because barrier is a mechanic added with the Path of Fire expansion, but we see a little bit here added to the core warrior profession. But coming back into here, let's go ahead and equip an axe into our main hand here, and then we can go ahead and start fighting some of the ghosts around here. And then let's go ahead and get some adrenaline up here. You see here we have throw axe, where we can just throw our axe at enemies, kind of like our sword. And then we have cyclone axe, where we spin and attack all nearby foes. And then let's go ahead and get our adrenaline up right here, and then we can use our burst skill, eviscerate, where we leap at your foe with a devastating attack. Effect increases with adrenaline level, gain might if this attack hits. And then before we leave this area, let's go ahead and look at axe here, where we can go ahead and see that we have dual strike, where it's basically just two attacks with both of our weapons, which just happens to be axe right now. And then we have a very fun skill here called whirling axe, where it's basically just kind of like a blade storm attack, where we deal a ton of damage to all of our enemies around us. And axe is actually one of my favorite weapon combinations for warriors. It just feels like very berserkery, where you can do a lot of attacks and they deal quite a bit of damage. But let's go ahead and head over to the next task area. Just coming back to our weapon selection here, let's go ahead and take a look at the longbow. So a ranged weapon here, where we can basically just shoot 2 arrows at our enemies, and then we also have fire spread of 3 flaming arrows, burns full, is pretty basic. Then we have arcing arrow here, shoot a slow arcing arrow that explodes on impact. So this is like a nice AoE fire damagey thing. And we're going to see with a lot of like the warrior profession in general, a lot of stuff kind of revolves revolves around fire, especially when we unlock some of the specializations, specifically the first specialization. So it has some kind of like class fantasy there where you're like dealing a lot of fire damage on top of like a lot of martial abilities. But let's look at our burst skill here, where we have combustive shot, ignite target area, burning nearby foes, effect increases with adrenaline level. I actually have to get my adrenaline back up because I accidentally attacked the wrong one. But looking here at combustive shot, we can ignite target area, burning nearby foes, effect increases with adrenaline level, so we can use it on this peasant here. It's a very large AoE area, and it just throws some fire down on the ground, which is nice for us to be able to use to fight enemies with. Then we have smoldering arrow right here, shoot an arrow that explodes on impact of blinding foes. So pretty basic, kind of just like a little bit of a stun with like the daze there. So it deals a little bit of defiance damage and a little bit of just damage on top of it as well. And then our last skill here, pin down, fire an arrow that bleeds and immobilizes your target, and I need a target. So we have some Gauze and Ghost right here. Let's go ahead and use this, and then it's kind of like a big animation there, but we have that ability, which is fun. We can use our burst skill again here just to finish off this ghost, and then let's go ahead and equip. Let's go with the rifle, which is similar to the longbow, where it's a long-range weapon, but we can go ahead and just start attacking any enemy here with Fierce Shot, where we give some might to ourselves if we strike a vulnerable target, and then we just deal quite a bit of damage. And then we have volley here, fire a volley of shots at your foe, so it just deals a bunch of different attacks. And then we also have 2 charges there, so we can use another one in 5 seconds. Then we have explosive show, which also has 2 charges, which we can shoot an explosive round that explodes when it hits enemies, striking enemies in a cone behind the initial target. And then we have brutal shot here, immobilize your foes that evade backwards. So let's come over here to these spider zigzags. And then we can use brutal shots and we evade backwards. Then we also have rifle butt, knock back your foe with your rifle butt. Successfully striking a foe recovers ammunition for each of your other rifle skills. So this is kind of nice to combo, where we can use like all these skills and then we can rifle butt to be able to use them all again, which is very fun and kind of like a nice combination with rifle here. And then lastly, we have our burst skill here, kill shot, where we can fire a powerful shot. Damage increases with adrenaline level. So let's go ahead and get some adrenaline, and then we can go ahead and use kill shot on these ghosts here. So let's go ahead and come back here and then use it. So it has a little bit of a charge up, but it deals a ton of damage. We finish off that one ghost, and then we have that other ghost there as well. And then let's go ahead and finish up this task really quickly, and then we can go ahead and look at the next 2 weapons. So the next weapon I want to look at is our hammer here. I should actually equip, and then I remembered I have to do the rifle burst skill, but we can go ahead and equip that. And then looking at this, we have just an auto attack chain here, where we can bash our foes again, and then smash the ground to damage nearby foes. And then here we have fierce blow, weaken your foe with a fierce blow, dealing increased damage when striking a controlled or defiant foe. So it's kind of nice to be able to like stun an enemy and then be able to use this to deal a little bit extra damage. But we deal quite a bit of damage with the hammer, but it is a little bit slow. And then here we have hammer shock, smash the ground and send out a crippling wave. So let's go ahead and summon another fire elemental here, and then we can use this. So we just send out like a massive wave in front of us that deals quite a bit of damage. And then we have staggering blow, where we can push back nearby foes with a staggering blow. I'm not going to use it on this fire elemental because the Solari is here as well. But let's go ahead and come over here and then use it on the fire elemental that comes out of this power source here. So let's attack it, and then let's use it, so it just deals a little bit of damage and knocks them away. And then we have Backbreaker, knock down your foe. Weakened foes stay knocked down longer. Recharges Fierce Blow if you control a foe with this ability. Recharges Fierce Blow if striking an enemy with a Defiance Bar, which is the skill right here. So it's kind of a nice combination here, where we can use kind of Fierce Blow to deal some damage and just level it up to level 10. And then we can use Backbreaker to basically kind of knock them down, and then it recharges our Fierce Blow. And then with Backbreaker, we can use Fierce Blow again, and we'll deal even more damage to any enemies that are controlled right now. So let's go ahead and charge our adrenaline up to look at the hammer burst skill, which is jump to the targeted location and slam your hammer down, damaging and stunning foes. So let's go ahead and charge this adrenaline up, and then we can go ahead and use it where we can basically select where we want to go, and we kind of just leap through the air and we deal a ton of damage. But now let's go ahead and take a look at our greatsword, which with our auto attack chain is kind of just like doing a bunch of different attacks, but slightly different, where we can slash your foe, then slice your foe, and then hit your foe with a final brutal strike. And then we have a fun weapon skill right here, which is actually a callback to a very powerful warrior skill in the original Guild Wars called 100 Blades, which we can repeatedly strike our enemies, the last strike does extra damage, so we do 8 attacks with that one attack there. And then here we have whirlwind attack, where we can basically select it through our enemies, and then we can use it to basically kind of just move through them and deal damage to them as we do so. Our fourth skill here is Blade Trial. Throw a greatsword at a foe so that it returns to you, crippling foes along the way. So we can go ahead and throw it at this sheep here, and then it returns to us, so it's kind of like a boomerang. And then our last skill here is Rush, Charge, and Strike your foe. So we can just charge our enemies, and it's very fun. And greatsword is actually a really good weapon to kind of move around with, which isn't too important anymore because you have the raptor, but it was very nice back in the day. But once our Rush recharges, we can go ahead and use it, and we can also use our whirlwind attack, and we can kind of see how far we can go. So let's go ahead and select this black sheep right here, and then we can go ahead and charge towards it, and then we also have the whirlwind attack to get some extra space there as well. But our burst attack here is Arc and Slice. Deliver a circular attack to foes around you and gain fury, deal more damage to foes with low health. So we can go ahead and use this, and it can deal a ton of damage to this black sheep and then kill it super easily with these weapons. The greatsword is one of my favorite weapons to use in Guild Wars 2 across like all the different professions. I can use it, and I like it a lot on warrior and also like axe. I tend to go greatsword, axe, so that might be what I equip on our character right here. But we have 2 underwater weapons that we can go ahead and look at as well. So coming into the water here, we can go ahead and attack some of the drakes around here, where we just have an auto attack chain with our spear here, and then we have attack foes in front of you with a series of strikes with our Mariner's Frenzy ability there, and then we have barbed pull your foe towards you, and then parry, block your foe, counterattack with a powerful strike, and then tsunami slash, spin forward and strike foes along the way. And then we also have our burst skill here, whirling strike foes all around you, stunning them, effect increases with adrenaline level. So let's go ahead and use all these. We can use our burst skill there, and I don't think it dealt too much damage. I think it was a little bit of like a weird kind of like just like spacing between our enemies right here, but we can go ahead and use our tsunami slash, which deals a ton of damage, and then we can go ahead and use this again, and that dealt a good amount of damage to those drakes. And then we can try to parry the drake, but it looks like he didn't want to attack us during that time. Then we can use barbed pull to pull our foe towards us, except he was just right next to us. So let's go ahead and kind of kite him around a little bit here, and then we can go ahead and run this way, and then we can use it, and then we could just use like our burst skill right there, and then we can come in with our frenzy skill here. And then we can also look at the spear gun here, which I can equip there, and then it's basically the same idea here. Here we just have like a normal, we deal damage, but the further the shot goes, the more damage it does, so it's nice to be away from enemies when you're underwater and using this weapon. Then we have puncture shot, make your foes vulnerable with a shot to their vitals. Split shot, your shot splits into a spread of harpoons that each bleed your target, which is fun. And then knot shot, evade backwards and fire a shot that immobilizes your foe. And then we have a repeating shot here, fire multiple shots that push back your foe. So let's go ahead and immobilize them, and then we can use this repeating shot here, and it just pushes them back, which is fun. And then lastly here, we have our burst skill that we can use. Forceful shot, fire forceful shot, damage increases with adrenaline level, and we see here that we've unlocked our second adrenaline bar here, so we can get up to 20 adrenaline, and as long as we have 20 compared to 10, we'll deal more damage with our burst skills. But of course, we only need 1 in order to use the burst skill, but it's nice once we unlock the 3rd bar to have it all the way up before we use it, just to maximize the damage we can get from those skills. So that is all the weapon skills that I kind of want to look at in this video, but let's go ahead and take a quick look at all the different skills that we can use, and I'm not going to look at all of them in this episode, but we have physical skills, signet skills, stance skills, shout skills, banner skills, and then we have all these different specializations here of strength, arms, defense, tactics, and discipline. And I'm just going to quickly look at a couple of these in this video. So let's go ahead and learn this kick skill here, and then we can learn a banner skill, and then let's look at a stance skill here. So let's go ahead and equip the stance skill. Heal yourself, absorb all incoming strikes for a period of time. So this is kind of just a nice, heals us a little bit. And then for a little bit, we just have this buff on our buff bar here, where any incoming attacks will heal us, which is nice. But equipping our kick here, it's a physical attack where we can push our foes back with a kick. So we can see just a little bit of extra CC that we can do, and it deals a little bit of damage. And then a very special warrior skill here is this Banner of Strength, which historically has been one of the most popular skills in the game, but it's gone through many different iterations throughout the years, where it's like completely changed its functionality, and it's like changed back, and it's changed again, and then it changed again, and there's just been a lot of stuff that's happened to the skill. So looking at it right now, we can go ahead and put this banner on the ground, and it will deal damage to enemies where we put it on them, and then it will post boons to us and nearby allies around us. So it's actually kind of a supportive skill here, where we can go ahead and just put it down on the ground here. So let's deal damage to the Salamander Drake, and then we're going to get might post to us as we stand near it. And then there are some very important traits that change this banner skill, but we're going to look at that in the future. But for now, I want to go ahead and explore the Charr story a little bit, and we're not going to be exploring too much because we kind of explored most of what I wanted to explore when we were here on our Charr Thief, but I just want to do a little bit more just to get a little bit more flavor in the world. So we got a letter from our Legionnaire here where we can report to the Black Citadel, and I kind of just want to kind of emphasize the different legions that exist here in Guild Wars 2, where we have the Ash Legion, the Iron Legion, and the Blood Legion, and then there's also the Flame Legion, and this is kind of like one of the most central like pillars of like Charr culture and the Charr story that exists here in Guild Wars 2, where we explored a lot of the Ash Legion, but I just want to reemphasize there's more than just the Ash Legion. So we're going to just be exploring a little bit of the Blood Legion today, not too much, but we're going to get some vibes about how like they interact with each other as we go through a few of these cutscenes here. And then the dynamic between these legions are very important for us to like understand when we approach Charr characters in the future. And then of course we also have to recognize that the Flame Legion are kind of like an enemy. They're a rogue legion that used to control all of Charr society, but then the Charr rebelled against the Flame Legion, and now we kind of see them on the outskirts of society, where we have the Ash, the Blood, and the Iron Legion that all work together, where we only have the Black Citadel here, which is the citadel for the Iron Legion. And then way on later in the game, in like Act 3 of the game, we'll be exploring the Flame Citadel. So let's go ahead and come into our story mission here, chain of command, and then let's go ahead and look at the story available for people that want to play as the Blood Legion.
We're the only ones left, I think. Lucky we made it out.
Well, look who finally came back. When Steelbane gets done with you, you'll wish you died with the rest of your warband.
As if I cared what you think. Who are you? Why are you breathing at me?
Sarosi Breaksteel. Steelbane recruited me, along with the others, to rebuild the warband.
Wait, what? He's recruiting without asking us?
Yeah, because you're dead, remember? And probably better off that way. Report to Steelbane in the barracks, quick, or you'll be in for a beating.
So we can go ahead and report to our Legionnaire, and you can kind of see it's a similar story to when we were here on our Charr character, where basically our warband was wiped out in the attack by Duke Baradin and the Ghosts of Ascalon, and now we kind of have to rebuild it a little bit. But of course, our approach to it is a little bit different as a member of the Blood Legion, where everyone's a little bit more confrontational and aggressive towards each other.
Legionnaire! Looks like some sewage just floated in from the battlefield. You get my best soldiers killed, and then have the nerve to stand there stinking up our barracks with your cowardly musk?
I got them killed. Tell me something, boss. Who's in charge of this outfit? Who was giving the orders? You.
Watch your tongue, soldier, or I'll have it removed for insubordination. Rage. Teach this piece of waste how to address a Legionnaire. With pleasure.
So we have a little bit of a fight here, so let's go ahead and get our banner ready to put it down on the ground, and then we can defend ourselves against Steelbane's lackeys. And we have a couple coming in right here, so let's go ahead and throw that banner down. And then we have our friend Maverick here, which we selected in our character customization, is like the only member left. So I think technically like the others are dead, but I think canonically they're not dead. They kind of just like ran away or something.
Another corpse that doesn't know it's dead. I thought only humans were that stupid.
And we can fight Breaksteel here, and then there are some other members around here. I think the thing about the other members is the story in the future has kind of changed a little bit, where like those other members are alive. I'm not entirely sure. I'll go ahead and look that up and write it down in the description.
Stand down! All of you! Stand down now! So, you fight your own warband better than you fight the enemy. Go on, get out of my sight while I figure out what to do with you. There's a load of supplies over at Telerange. Bring them to me. Double time. It's the only job you're fit for. Screw this up, and I will use your hide as a doormat. Understood?
Understood, boss.
So we can go ahead and retrieve the supplies, and you can see that everything here is definitely a little bit different compared to the Ash Legion, where we were a little bit more focused on kind of like being subtle and kind of like passive compared to like the Blood Legion, where we are very aggressive and all of the other members of our Legion are kind of just mean towards everyone else and very aggressive towards everyone else. But let's go ahead and pick up the supplies for our Legionnaire.
Supply runs are so beneath us. Especially me.
Then we can see over here that there are some Flame Legion recruiters and some other members talking to some other Charr. Let's go ahead and see what's going on right here.
The rest of your warband defected voluntarily. Don't be stubborn. Why fight for blood when you can cook for Flame Legion? Females have it easy with us.
You want me to desert and join you so you can demote me to fry cook? Please! I've killed 100 males twice your size.
Fall in line or fall on a blade. I don't care which.
No luck trolling for recruits at the pig farm? You Flame Legion stiffs must be desperate. I came here for supplies, but this is a lot more fun.
If it's fun you want, recruits. Let's send Blood Legion a message. Bury these idiots and destroy those supplies while you're at it.
So let's go ahead and fight the Flame Legion here. You can see a little bit more of an emphasis on their story here, where the Flame Legion are very misogynistic and also kind of just bad guys in general.
Still want me to cook for you? Here, have a steaming hot bowl of death.
And then we have another member here of the Blood Legion, where the rest of her warband has defected to the Flame Legion, and now she's kind of all alone. But we can see, similar to our storyline with the Ash Legion, we can go ahead and recruit her into our own warband as well, once we deal with all the Flame Legion here.
Enough of you males. Maybe
Enemy
the females
contact.
will take over again.
Engaging pursuit. Very well. You have my attention.
Then we have a bigger Flame Legion over here that we can go ahead and fight, and we can go ahead and see what this Charr has to say. So I think with our banner strength there, once it recharges, I can kind of show it again. But the inner circle is the circle that will deal damage to any enemies once we bring it down. And then the outer circle, which you can kind of see a little bit of a circle right there, is the circle where it will go ahead and give some buffs to our allies and ourselves, as long as we're standing inside that circle. But it is recharging, so we can see there's two circles. Let's make sure this Flame Recruiter is inside the middle circle, and then we can go ahead and put it in. And then let's chat
I
with
knew
this
this
Charr.
soldier. Best quartermaster in the legions. Whatever you needed, he had it. My whole war band deserted for the promise of power. Never thought I'd see something like that. I have nothing left but my life. If you'll have me in your ranks, it's yours.
We need soldiers, and you can clearly handle yourself in a scrap. Welcome to the warband. Just be warned, my Legionnaire is going to drown us for losing those supplies. I hope you can swim.
Don't worry. I can hold my breath for a long time. I'll take punishment over death, or being a gladium. Lead on.
And then we can go ahead and continue our story back in the Black Citadel, where we can report to Steelbane. So we can come down here into the Bane, and then we are about to have a little bit of a fun story mission here.
The Bane? No problem. Everyone loves me here.
And then we have our Legionnaire here, alongside Ritlock Brimstone, and then some other members of the Blood Legion, with Maverick, of course. Let's go ahead and talk to our Legionnaire and give him our report.
Well, well. If it isn't the brave soldier that aided me in Baradin's crypt.
Good to see you again, Tribune Brimstone. If you'll excuse me, I need to speak to Steelbane. Reporting in, Legionnaire. Telerange was compromised, crawling with Flame Legion. The supplies were destroyed.
In other words, you failed. Again. By the claw of the Con-er, give me one reason why I shouldn't just kill you now.
Go ahead and try it. You don't have the spine. You're done, Steelbane. Either you step down as Legionnaire, or I'll knock you into the dirt myself.
You want my job, you miserable little puke? Earn it! Get down there and fight. Show me what you've got, and maybe I'll show you how a real Legionnaire fights. Gather round, troops. Watch me crush this little mutiny and teach you all a lesson in respect. Gladiators, to the arena!
So we can go ahead and defeat the gladiators, and I really like this a lot because I really wish the Bane would become like a little bit of an event where maybe like 1 week a year there's like some extra like challenge, like PvP fighting thing or something going on in here, or it's like an open road PvP thing where you can kind of just drop down into here and fight people, which we see happens in like some expansions, or it could be some sort of thing like the Brawlers Guild from World of Warcraft with the
But it's
Pandaria.
not over yet. Let's see how you fare against the arena champion.
And I talked about this when we were here on our Ash Legion character, but of course it's just something that I want to emphasize because it's something that I would really like to see. But it's nice to have it here when you're playing as a Blood Legion Charr in the personal story where you can actually fight in the arena, and it is kind of fun. You know, it's 2012 fighting, so it's not like too big of a thing, but it is still fun to be able to fight things. And I got knocked down while I was trying to use my burst skill there, so let's go ahead and use the burst skill again, and then we can throw down our banner to assist us, and then we can finish off this fighting here. And then you have a giant
This is it,
devourer coming
soldier.
in.
Last round. Victory or death. Let's see what you've got.
So victory or death. Let's go ahead and set our eyes on this giant devourer here, and then let's go ahead and begin charging towards it. We can throw our axe, and then it looks like it kind of shot a border towards us. Switch to our greatsword, leap in, and use all of our greatsword attacks here. We almost have our banner recharged, so we can go ahead and, it's moving around a lot as well, and we just got knocked back, but we can go ahead and throw in our greatsword as we come in, and then use our 100 blades again, and then we can use our burst skill. So with warrior, we see a ton of like very like physical attacks, not too much magic going on. There's a little bit of magic, but overall mostly just martial stuff.
They took down my picture again. I'll send them another one.
So we have Steelbane right here. Let's go ahead and chat with him.
Outstanding. I'd say the soldier exceeded expectations. What do you say, Steelbane? He's so impressed he's speechless. Now get in that ring and fight, Steelbane, or I'll split you open myself. Yes, sir, Tribune. I can't hear you, Legionnaire. Yes, sir. A formal challenge, Steelbane. This soldier's willing to fight to the death. How about you? Prepare to be impressed, Tribune. I am going to make an example out of this whimpering cub.
So let's go ahead and fight Steelbane here. A really fun part of being a member of the Blood Legion is our Whitlock Brimstone, who's kind of our mentor in the personal story of Charr, is a member of the Blood Legion, so we are a member of his Legion, where it's kind of like interesting where you're kind of part of the Ash Legion and the Iron Legion and you're interacting with him. But as a member of the Blood Legion, it seems very seamless. Let's go ahead and fight Steelbane here, and then we can go ahead and defeat him, and we can gain control of our warband against him.
Stop! I surrender. Don't kill me. I can still be of use to the Blood Legion. He's done, soldier. Either he lives to continue serving the Corps as best he can, or he dies in the name of Legion discipline. Either way, the decision's yours. Kill him, or cast him out of your warband.
So here we have a decision where we can kill Steelbane or we can cast him out. And I think I'm going to give a little bit of mercy here, and I'm going to go ahead and kick him out of the Legion. So let's go ahead and pick this option here.
Steelbane wasn't fit to command. Congratulations on your promotion, Legionnaire.
I'll rebuild this warband and live up to your trust, Tribune. I promise you that.
Your first duty is to replenish your warband with honorable gladium. Earn their trust.
Understood. Any recommendations?
Fion the Wraith and Sour Doomsday. Both are good soldiers who've fallen on hard times. I'll give you a full briefing when you're ready.
So let's go ahead and get a briefing from Murdoch Brimstone, and we can see who we could
What do you
recruit.
have for me?
So we can ask about Fion the Wraith, who spent decades in Ascalon hunting ghosts until they were caught in an ambush. Only Fion survived. He's a hardened veteran, good with blades, more stealthy than you'd expect from Blue Legion, a little old perhaps, but still kicking. And then we have Sauer, who's a talented necromancer. He was training for covert ops until his warband and found him meeting with flame shamans. They accused him of treason. I suspect he was just overeager. So let's go ahead and ask about Fion again, and then we can say that this is what the warband needs. So let's go ahead and select that, and then we can say we're ready to choose, and then let's go ahead and pick Fion here, and then we can go ahead and continue on with this personal story mission if we wanted to, but I think I'm going to go ahead and call it good here. So let's go ahead and leave the instance, and then I can head towards Avenger and clean up my inventory a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you know a little bit more about like Charr culture and a little bit more about the warrior profession in Guild Wars 2. Next episode, we're going to look at a different race and a different profession and get a little bit more information as we head into Act 2 of the personal story. But I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Tyria. Goodbye.